Hi friends, today I'm making decadent yet frugal meals for one person. I'll be featuring a luxury food item that you've never seen me cook with. I've managed to fit it in a budget that is less than $3 per meal, so I'm going with it. If you're a college student, van lifer, single person, or basically just anyone that needs to save money on food, get ready to spend some time with me because I've got useful tips and delicious recipes for you. Recently, one of my viewers saw the video I did where I featured convenience foods, so she sent me this mini dash rice cooker. She thought it could be a useful tool for a lot of my audience, and I couldn't agree more. So thank you, Judy, for sending this to me. This is a very small, low wattage rice cooker that only uses 200 watts of power. It's perfect for cooking for one or possibly two people. It might also be a great option for my viewers in the UK that have very high energy costs, or basically anyone anywhere that's trying to lower their energy bill. I'll put a link to this on my Amazon store for you. I wish I would have had this when I was in college. This would have been great for the dorms. This would also be useful for someone that doesn't have a stove or a kitchen. It comes with this little recipe book, a measuring cup, and a little rice scooper. Today, I'll be making both of my recipes in this, and we'll see how it works. The inspiration for my recipes is this box of whipping cream that I recently picked up at Trader Joe's. I love the fact that they sell these shelf-stable mini boxes that only have 8 ounces. This was $1.69 at my store, and I'll be using this in 2 meals. However, this box would have actually gone further than that, but more on that later. There are so many meals I could make with this, but for the first one, I think I'd like to make a pasta meal. I guess you could say this first recipe is also inspired by my son, because he's always making pasta dishes with a cream sauce, and they're delicious. I never use heavy cream in my cooking, so this will be fun for me to try. Now we just need to pick out a pasta. I thought maybe a rigatoni would be nice, but I don't see any in my pantry. Plus I want to keep the costs down, so I'm gonna see what I have in the small bags. I definitely don't think fideo would work. I think I'm just going to go with these shells. Not exactly what I had in mind, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Now let me see what I have for vegetables. I'm wondering if this surprises you guys. I have 1/3 of a zucchini left over, and I also have these tomatoes that need to be used before they go bad. I looked real quickly on Wholesome Choice, and they had lots of tomatoes on sale, so I'm imagining they're on sale where you live as well. And if you use Roma tomatoes, just 1 or 2 will work in this recipe. And now we need to season our sauce. My son uses the most random things to season his dishes with, and they always turn out amazing. It's like he's the rebel of cooking, always breaking all the rules, but yet it somehow works. I personally would love to try this in the pasta dish. However, I don't think a lot of my audience would like this. The same goes with this gochujang seasoning that I just picked up at Sam's Club. My son uses a lot of chipotle pepper in his pasta sauces, but again, I think I'm going to go for something a little milder. I'm just going to use basic seasonings like garlic powder. I'll use some Spanish paprika for a little smokiness, and I actually found quite a few items in my pantry that I would have loved to try in this pasta sauce, including some that have cheese in them, like this cheesy seasoning blend from Trader Joe's. One of my viewers just told me that this Italian spice blend that I always use from Trader Joe's is only a seasonal item, and I'm remembering now that I did get it in a holiday gift box set, so I'll try not to feature that in my cooking anymore. I like to only use items that I know that you guys can access. There's also Italian seasoning, which would be good, but I'm just not in the mood for it today. I think I'll just stick with these 2 for now. I also have the crushed red pepper flakes. That's definitely an option at the end, or I could just do a tiny amount of cayenne, but I'm just going to start cooking and then see how I feel about it later. I always keep my leftover tomato paste in the freezer. I think a small amount would be good in this dish. It would cost you $2.74 to buy all the ingredients for this meal. However, we're not going to be using all of the pasta, and I did include a full zucchini here in the cost. So if you bought a full zucchini, you could use the other portion for the second meal, or just do as I do and buy whatever vegetable is on sale that you like. I was talking to a viewer about this the other day. I prefer to eat fresh vegetables as often as possible, and by buying whatever's on sale, it pretty much ensures that I'm always eating a variety of foods. They say to count your colors, not your calories, and I love that. I used to count my calories a lot when I was younger, and if I could go back and advise my younger self, I would tell her to stop counting calories and to eat more. And I'm actually only going to be using about half of these tomatoes. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I was cutting these up, but that container is actually not going to hold all of these, but I'll use the other in a salad later. I wanted to mention that in this recipe guide that I found, they had a recipe for chocolate cake that could be made in this, so maybe one day that might be fun to try something like that. Being able to make a dessert in a device that doesn't heat your house up is a huge bonus. I'm adding my pasta to salted water, and I think I just realized an added bonus to this device for those people like me that are used to cooking for a larger family and now only cooks for one. This can help you regulate how much to cook. I've hardly added any pasta in here, but yet my little pot looks full. I'm going to pull this out a minute before it's supposed to be done because I'll be adding this back into my dish later. When I was cooking this, I discovered that you need to have a certain amount of ingredients in the rice cooker, otherwise it will adjust itself to the warm function. And I think that this is a fire safety mechanism. If you're just trying to saute a small ingredient, then you would need to put the lid on or another heavy object on top. But I actually kind of like that function. It's a nice safety feature. This is very tasty on its own, but I just can't help myself. I'm going to add some togarashi seasoning in here. This is a Japanese seasoning, and it's basically just made from red chili peppers, but the scent of this is really good, and I like this better than straight cayenne pepper. I love the aroma of this, but I don't know much about it. It smells kind of smoky. I don't even remember where I bought this. I do know that togarashi seasoning is widely available on Amazon, but I probably picked this up at a store and for not a lot of money. I'll put the name of this seasoning in the description area of my video. This tastes perfect to me. If you want to make yours with a lot more sauce, you can do that, but I wanted just enough to get a creamy texture and to coat my pasta. Obviously, if you're a vegan or you just happen to have coconut milk instead, you can use that in place of the heavy cream. This is delicious. Even just that little bit of cream went a long way here. Heavy cream is obviously an excellent tool to give the pasta a thick coating, which is why it's used in so many pasta dishes like a fettuccine alfredo. This has a smoky flavor with just a touch of heat. I can also taste the garlic in there, which of course is one of my favorites. If you have fresh garlic, that would be even better. For my final dish, I wanted to use another recipe that utilizes heavy cream. I'm in the mood for a vegetable curry. I recently picked up a butter sauce from Aldi and it was fairly good, so I've been wanting to make a butter sauce at home. However, I don't want to add butter, so I'm just going to call it a curry. I searched for a recipe that had minimal ingredients just to get some ideas, and I found some simple Indian curries that I think will work here. For all the recipes in today's episode, I'm using ingredients that I already have on hand. I'm basically on a spending freeze after my little trip to Trader Joe's. I'm excited to try this because I love Indian food, but I don't have a lot of experience cooking it, so I'll be using 1 cup white rice, a portion of a can of tomato sauce, some red pepper, 1 potato, and some green beans that I found in my fridge that desperately need to be used. Curries are a great way to utilize vegetables that are getting old. I'll be interested to see how well this makes my rice. The cookbook recommended 1 1/4 cup water to 1 cup rice, and I actually think that maybe I should have used just a little bit less water, so I'll have to experiment with that. My big dilemma was, do I use curry powder or do I use garam masala? When I smell both of these, I am much more delighted by the garam masala than I am by the curry powder. I really want to love turmeric, but if I'm being honest, I think it turns me off a little bit. And I noticed that in some of the highly rated yet simple Indian curries, it called for garam masala instead of curry powder. This is a spice blend. I'm going to leave a link to the spice blend for you in the description area of my video because you probably already have the spices in your pantry to make it, if you don't already have the spice. But this is made of cinnamon, peppercorns, cardamom, mustard seeds, coriander seeds, cloves, mace, and nutmeg. I think I pretty much have all of those except for mace, which I'm not familiar with. A quick Google search tells me that mace is the waxy layer surrounding the whole nutmeg seed. The nutmeg seeds are on the left and the mace is on the right. These both grow inside the nutmeg fruit, which is an edible fruit. So I started wondering about these fruits and where could I get my hands on one? I did some research and discovered that nutmeg is native to the Maluku Islands of Indonesia, which are also known as the Spice Islands. In fact, global interest in the spices eventually led to a war that was dubbed the Spice War. Anyhow, let's get back to my curry. I was talking about garam masala. I tried to learn a little bit about the spice. Basically, what I read from different chefs was that you should add this in towards the end of cooking. Not quite sure why. I read something about it contributing to the aroma of the dish. Anyway, this smells really good to me, and this will be my first time using this. I'm going to start by cooking my potatoes. I love potatoes in curries. The best kind to use are either yellow, like Yukon Gold, or red potatoes because they hold their shape better in the curry. But I'm just going to use what I have on hand. I'll just have to be careful not to let them overcook. I'll add a small amount of cream to start with, and then I'll add the garam masala. In the recipe, I'm just going to say to season to taste, because that's what I'm doing here. I find that when you're cooking for one, that's usually what works best. I'm going to add just a little bit more cream because I need to make sure I have enough sauce to cover my potatoes. It might be just a tad too thick, so I'm going to add a touch of water. I'm really enjoying this flavor, and I'm so glad I decided to use the garam masala, and I like it so much I'm going to add just a little bit more. It's basically finished, so I'm just going to add in my potatoes and stir it up, and then we're good to go. Obviously, if you wanted to add in a can of chicken or some tofu here, that would be great, but I have neither, so I'm just doing the vegetables and it'll be plenty filling. I'm curious to see how much of the cream I used in these two recipes. This is an 8-ounce box, so I've actually used less than an ounce for 2 recipes. A little bit goes a long way, and that's probably a good thing because it is a rich product. And it's not an ingredient you normally find in extreme budget meals, but as you can see, it does fit nicely in this recipe for $3.28, but a lot of the ingredients I have leftovers of, like the cream and 1/3 of the red pepper. I also had dry rice left over. This is hands down the best Indian curry I've ever made. And now that I've made it successfully, I could probably tweak this recipe a little bit, and I think I would even like to thin out the sauce maybe a little bit more. I don't know, I think it's about the same consistency of butter chicken sauce, but I'm just not used to something that thick. I let my youngest son take this for his work lunch, and he really liked it. I actually thought I could have gotten about 2 servings out of this. So I definitely see how you could get by with using this mini dash cooker for 2 people. I definitely think that that is an option. And here are some other meal ideas I had for the heavy cream and mini rice cooker. I hope this video was helpful, or at the very least entertaining. Thanks so much for watching, friends. I'll see you in a few days.